Good morning, Mr. E. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood here in Washington, D.C. Let's welcome our neighbors, our WGPL 1350 AM listeners. Mr. E, don't forget Facebook Live. Don't forget Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. You can like, share, comment, or subscribe. We'll shout you out later in the show. And don't forget to comment. We will shout you out. That's right, later in the show. Wow, Mr. E, it's a beautiful day here in Washington, D.C. Something in the water was very, very, very nice. The weather was perfect. We had a wonderful time. Of course, we are on our way out on this morning, but we had to come on and say hello to our audience. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful day. We're going to give you highlights on something in the water. We're also going to post pictures and videos of the event, good food, fun, family, and just great music. And so we're on our way back to Hampton Roads, Virginia, but it was a wonderful, wonderful vacation. Great. I tell you what, we both had a great weekend, but today is Monday and it's our sports talk. So excited about today because we have a fabulous special guest, Mr. E. We have Andre Harrison. He's athlete. He's actually with Parks and Recreation. He's a supervisor there. He's also a coach at Kempsville High School. We want to say good morning to you, Mr. Harrison. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and then we're going to talk a little bit about you as a coach, and then we're going to talk about your position at Parks and Recreation. Now tell us where you got your love of sports from.
Originated from first off from my father. Us celebrating Father's Day this past weekend, it was a great pillar in my life. With sports,
Wow, that is awesome. Let's talk about some of the programs there and the services. What exactly, who you do you serve there? What ages and what are some of the programs?
as older you want to be to participate. We have coming up. We have our Norfolk Nighthawk that we start up July 1st, and that typically runs on Fridays and Saturdays. That's catered for adults 18 and up, where you can come and participate in recreational activities like basketball and fishing. There's a whole bunch of opportunities, and then unique about that program is it's two various partnerships that they also provide opportunities for GED enrollment, some FEMA
Wow.
services, and also some career development opportunities.
Wow. What about some summer fun programs? What's happening in the summer? Any camps, anything like that going on for the young people?
Yes, we have right now for our youth, the city is offering youth Sonoma camp for ages 5 through 12, and then also a teen camp. And then also for sports related, we do currently have youth clinics for sports like soccer and basketball starting up. And then right now we're kicking off a 3-on-3 basketball program for youth 10 through 16.
Wow, so nice. Mr. E, are you ready to talk about
I'm
our
ready.
NBA last game? I hope Mr. Harrison is ready and excited. First of all, I want to know who your team, who did you follow? Who was the team that was your favorite?
I'm one of those unique guys that I love greatness, so I'm an avid LeBron fan.
All
So
right now.
he wasn't in the finals this year, but there was some great basketball that was played.
I
Yeah, did
think
you follow the season?
Yes, yes, I did.
Okay, Mr. E, go ahead, take it away.
LeBron is overrated.
Oh Lord.
I think that the Lakers are overrated. I really think, Mr. Harrison, that the Lakers are overrated. Listen, my team in I don't have a favorite team in basketball, but back in the days of old, I used to trail along with the Lakers. But I think now that if I had to choose a basketball team, it'll be two teams: the Golden State Warriors and the Pelicans. I like Zion. Since you was talking about you're from Norfolk area, you born and raised in Norfolk, so you're a booger and not you're a Washington fan and not a booger, right?
They often get a mistake. I gotta correct a lot of people. When they
That
see that Washington is Booker T.
well, see,
All right.
but to be a real booger, you had to go to the factory.
Mhm.
You didn't go.
Yeah, my grandfather and grandparents. I was the first grandchild, but they had relocated out of state. So one of their lasting memories was saying that myself and my siblings were the first grandchildren to come from the Booker T. Washington tradition.
I
Wow.
want to say congratulations. I want to say congratulations and thank you so much for all your services. I found out that you used to be you're assistant coach now for Kentsville, and you did some coaching for wellness area, full wellness. I mean YMCA fitness and wellness program, and also at Old Dominion University recreation and wellness intermediate program. How did you fathom that? What do you think about dealing with all the children before I jump to the Golden State Warriors?
That's a big monumental thing for me. Is that's the big reason why I got into recreation. is the impact that you can have on the future generation. I had great pillars and role models and mentors outside of my grandparents and parents that were in the community that always keep preach giving back and coming up in my neighborhood growing up in Norfolk, there was a lot of different opportunities to get into trouble or to go down the wrong way. But I was always steered in the right way. And that's one thing I try to preach and try to move and giving back.
When you're dealing with the youth, Mr. Harrison, when you're dealing with the young folks, what are some of the things that you're telling them as far as the community-based subjects, as far as crime in the streets, as far as gang members? What are some of the things that you're saying to them to help them along the way?
A lot of it is love. A lot of kids in different situations, they go through very traumatic situations just growing up from their household, what they see in our environment. And today, there's so many different distractions that kids can face at an early age. They see they're either more open to stuff that the previous generations were more open to. So the biggest thing is giving them love and attention and confirmation that they are kings and queens and they can do great things in life. They just have to find opportunities and figure out what their niche and what their hobbies are, what they like, and then how to get to that.
Yeah, yeah.
Luna,
Now,
I want to know if you use uh, look at professional ball, NBA, and um, just kind of coach from some of the strategies that they use. Uh, how do you coach? How do you take what you see and kind of like give it to our young people?
It's very unique because a lot of our kids they see the product of the professional athletes that can do all these amazing things from jumping out the gym, dunking, to hitting all the threes like Steph Curry, but they don't see the hard work and the years of, of preparation and repetition to get to that elite skill level. So the unique thing for me was starting out coaching JV and recreational league is getting on the grassroots level, teaching the basic fundamentals and pillars of the game. And like I said, now seeing like a lot of kids that I started coaching in JV are now graduating, playing varsity. Some of them seeing kids going to the college level and getting better because they learn the bare basics.
Yes. Why do you think Golden State won? Why do you think they played so well? They went all the way to the top.
This year, in my opinion, is with chemistry. They
Mm,
guys been playing and have experience with each other, and then they got continuity in their system. Every coach that coaches that's successful know that you got to create a program and a system that best fits your team. Sometimes you got to weed out the guys that may not be helping it. Sometimes for the Golden State situation, injuries came into play, and they had to take a year off, get everybody healthy. But the benefit for them was they got some more good younger players that could play, and then they just had to learn the system, and everybody sacrificed. So now when they came against the Boston Celtics, who were great, they were just a little bit more inexperienced.
wow.
what is the difference? What is the difference, Mr. Harrison, between the LA Lakers and the Golden State Warriors to your eyes? You know, because the
It,
uh-huh.
it's team, it's team, and if you've seen with their new hire, their head coach, the first thing that everybody has to come to create a team is sacrifice.
Okay.
You got everybody got to be willing to accept their role and being on the same page, even when you're going to face trials and tribulations. And that goes back to the body.
Do you really think the LeBrons and the AD and the rest of the Camilla Anthony and Superman, all them boys that's on the Lakers, do you think for 1 second that they would play team ball?
Yeah, because I think now they're to the point where, because of their reputation, they want to win. And that's the unique thing of how teams are constructed, especially on the professional level, is you're gonna have your alpha dog, your guy that's gonna do all the production, which is normally for a LeBron-based team is LeBron. But for him to flourish, you got to put a good role player. And I think they had a couple young guys that were playing good. They just didn't fully identify their role. So I think this year the big thing for their management is going to be filling the team with more glue guys that got special roles and that can play off of those superstars. And what those superstars got to do in Davis and Westbrook is identify what they're going to do great for the team and sacrifice. So, but Russell Westbrook, he's going to have to pick up the defense. And AD is going to have to be more consistent.
But you know, Mr. Harrison, LeBron, of course, is a fan favorite. Everybody loves LeBron. He's a star. But how come people are saying that his day is done and it's time for him to put up the ball game? He needs to retire. He's old. What is that all about? Mm.
He's top 5 in all the statistical categories, going to the championship year in and year out. So something a lot of fans believe that that's not going to fit. So what he has to do is the same thing that all the other greats, Jordan, Kareem, and all of them guys. He has to renovate his game and find different ways to have a larger impact in a different role.
Golden State Warrior. They had 4 originals on the Golden State Warrior team, and Kevin Durant was a original. Do you think that Kevin Durant feels some kind of way now that he's not with the Golden State Warriors?
Well, that's the unique thing about professional sports, and you can look at his running buddy Kyrie, for example. Kyrie bounced around. He was with LeBron and he was winning, but he wanted to eat his show. He went to Boston. The day wasn't working. He decided, okay, I'm gonna go with Durant and she's gonna start her own thing. So when everything got there, it wasn't necessarily jealous. So sometimes when you ask for things, you gotta take what you get and you gotta produce. So it's been very interesting this upcoming season because I think it's gonna be more competitive basketball. For real, all the teams are in must-win situations. All the elite teams are in must-win situations. You got Curry and them coming on 5 championships, trying to win their 5th, put them in the higher.
Do you really think that here's the question that's going around the city, that's going around the town about the Golden State Warriors? Do you really think that the Golden State Warriors can do it again?
I think right now, I'm a firm believer if you beat the man, you got to beat the man. Right now, they're the man. So they got guys, they got more confidence. If they can they got a lot of guys that are up for renewal on a contract situation. So if they can bring them pieces back, it's gonna be very scary. But they do got a lot of competition. I was watching this morning, they were talking about the young guys, John Moran, and the Grizzlies who gave them some competition in the playoffs. And they're ready. They're already going back and forth.
Well, what do you think about Pope? And the young cat that's played that forward. Because now I see in what they're teaching on, let's say with the Lakers fan, nobody's playing solid defense. Nobody's playing. Everybody wants to play point guard. Did you see the way the Golden State Warriors was playing basic basketball? Did you see how they was doing a 3 and 2s and 2s and 1s, and they was putting 3 2s and 3 in the back and 3 in the front, and then the center would be. What do you think about the LeBron James and them playing basic basketball?
Yeah, that's what it's going to have to get back to because the unique about, like I said, about that higher level of basketball is it's always strategies that are changing. That's why it's a 7-game series. So, like for example, in the final, Boston came out. I think they kind of played their hand a little bit early, playing that matchup.
Yeah.
And all Kerr did was Mike Brown and that elite coaching staff they made an adjustment, a
Yeah,
small
yeah,
adjustment,
yeah.
which was exploited in the final game, was where they ran Boston was running with two bigs. Both was hitting his 3-point shot, but all Golden State was spreading the floor, running the shooters and the young guys off the screen, 5 out, and they were getting open lane, and then they were playing Curry from the 3-point line, but he was taking layup after layup
Yeah,
because he was in the mismatch.
yeah.
Well, did it surprise you that Boston went so far?
I really like Boston. I think I'm surprised they got to the finals this early. I was thinking more of it was either going to be the Bucks or I really liked it Miami, but injuries played them towards the end. But I think Boston, what got them to it was their defense. But I think they got caught in the situation of, and they were relying a lot on Tatum, which he underproduced towards the end of the finals. But they were sticking to trying to be like most kids and most teams nowadays. They just want to score. They figure they got the number of how many points they need to score to win, and then they forget about what they're really doing on the defense.
Do you think that Boston has changed their dynamics, their style of being Boston? Because Boston used to play with McHale and Parrish and Larry Bird and someone that they never talk about, which is another Green, Damon Green, and so Dennis Rodman, that Danny Ainge. They don't have that niche. Do you think that they changed their dynamics in playing Boston kind of ball?
I think Boston. One thing about Boston is they always had the history, like you mentioned, of a big three and a great triangle type system where guys they had elite rebounder defenders. You had your score, and then you had your guys setting Dennis Johnson setting up the court. This team was really lacking a true point guard. So I think if they get a true point guard to come in and kind of facilitate, and then that way, because it's hard to be a top tier scorer like Tatum and Brown, where you can be an elite scorer, but then you usually have the responsibility of bringing the ball down the court, setting the offense up. And that's just too much pressure. And then I think Golden State exploited that because, like I said, by the time they got to game 5, they were basically pushing up. And like I said, when you're a ball handler, you got all 5 defenders watching you because that's what game ball.
Now, do you think the dynamics has changed where now they got 6, 7 guys bringing the ball down and 7-footers bringing the ball down playing point guard and instead of the guards coming out. Starr did a wonderful job on Boston. I got to give it to him because he was playing a great point guard. He was playing they did a magnificent job playing point. Him and Williams, they did a wonderful job for Boston. Do you think the dynamics have changed that now Tatum, who's a big guy, and Brown, who's a big guy, they're bringing the ball down?
I think guys like Magic was the first one to really exploit that mismatch. That when you got guys like LeBron and even KD to a degree, teams are starting, and Ben Simmons is another example. Teams want that advantage, and usually guys with that got elite ball handling capabilities. But one thing about it is with the player development, because you saw in grassroots, a lot of guys they fit the prototype of what position they typically go and play, especially by the time they get to college. And one thing about the development is most guards, like Chris Paul is a perfect example. You spend your whole life playing that position, nothing's going to surpass that experience and then that understanding of how to set the table, how to manage the game.
You said
Absolutely.
You said something about Chris Paul. I almost broke out laughing. Chris Paul been in the league for such a long time. Did you feel any kind of way that Chris Paul has not yet got a ring on his finger?
It's going to be one of those things where it's a travesty for a Hall of Famer type guy that is probably going to go down top 5 in that position. But part of it is winning that championship. I was kind of rooting with, but for him to join LA at one point in time, when LeBron was going out there, some of how like a lot of these young teams are missing that point guard. And I think if he was to go come back east, he'll probably have a better opportunity because the West is so deep. But I mean, he almost got one last year. I think last year was his opportunity.
You know, almost a
Mm. Well, I tell you what, it was a great NBA season. It's over with, but I wanted to talk about are your expectations for the season coming up for Kempsville High School.
Oh, well, we're in the process with under the tutors of Coach Derek Sandlin. Like I said, I've been with him since high school, even pre-working out through as a youth. Um, and one thing about us is we're built when we're always trying to build young men and winners. So we're changing that program over there in Kingsville. We were on the cusp the last couple of seasons, so the work that we're trying to put in now is to hopefully get these kids to that platform of a state championship.
You know, I'm always curious to know if you all see potential greats, potential stars when you coach high school basketball.
Yes, the one wonderful thing about this Hampton Roads area is athletics is very supreme, and on a national scale, it's sometimes overlooked. But we have a lot of greats that have came through these neighborhoods, cities, and school leagues, from Michael Biggs to Allen Iverson, and even now we got a lot of young talent, a guy like Darion Cleburne that is getting to that professional level. So you never know. Like I said, you continue to build the kids up, and then like I said, God has who He's going to bless, and like I said, the thing is to prepare these kids to make the right decision and put them in a great opportunity for the development.
We have about 3 minutes left, Coach, before we let you go. Tell us, how do you feel to be the assistant coach from the coach that coached you?
Oh, it's a great thing. We had a wonderful opportunity this past month or two ago where we commemorated Coach Sandlin 20-year anniversary
Yeah.
of coaching. And now going in this season, our goal was, because we were real close last year, was to cement it with another state championship. Like I said, we fell short, but every day coming in is like the same thing. And one thing about Coach that is great, because he's an all-time great at what he does, is that he has been able to evolutionize the way he coaches. Like I said, he has the same impact. Kids love him, parents love him. The
Yes.
great thing is that he was able to go from two different spectrum from Booker T. Washington High School and to be a winner there and to change a lot of lives and have a great impact, keep the kids off the street, get kids to college. And he has in that same rapport and impact and a whole different dynamic over at Kingsville.
Absolutely. And we say congratulations to Coach Sandelin. But we want to know, Andre, if you have any contact information for Parks and Recreation for our young people for summer.
Yeah, so if you would like, we have a lot of information of upcoming events, programs, and different facilities. We got great things to offer from boxing to therapeutic association, aquatics. Individuals that are interested can check out our Facebook page. Just look up Norfolk Parks and Rec. And then also we have our website is norfolkfund.norfolk.gov, and that will be having like all the specific program information and enrollment registration.
We want to say thank you so much for being on, Mr. Harrison, and much success in your upcoming year. And thank you for all you do for our kids. Have a wonderful and blessed day.
Thank you. Y'all too.
Thank you, sir.
I tell you, Mr. E, take it away. Okay. All right, Mr. E, thank you so much. You can, if you want to, chime in to our guests. If you'd like to, we're going to hang up and get ready to get on the road. All right, God bless you. Bye-bye. Kiss her.